Hello, guys, and yeah, I'm finally back from, the 2 months of college classes that I have to deal with. But I did came back here, yesterday, but unfortunately, at the time, I really wanted to make a longer video, but couldn't because, I didn't verify my account yet. I will probably upload it if I'm able to verify, but for now, I'm just gonna do shorter videos for now. Anyway, welcome back, and today we're gonna be talking about Hollow's Heart. So yeah, let us begin, shall we, ladies and gents? So, as we currently see now, Izuku is somewhat, somewhat getting along with most of them, but, well, since it's a camp of mostly monster girls and Izuku is the only, and I quote, man, as in, monster, man, they don't really consider him a succubus, or I'm an incubus because of the whole, well, he doesn't have the typical, traits of an incubus, in a way. So, because of that, let's just say most of the women there were pretty much interested, to say the least. Well, unfortunately for them, a certain, a certain chimera is not letting that slide. So yeah, you can already imagine the bullshit that would happen next. As while Izuku was basically just doing his own thing, mostly just training, one certain a a certain monster girl was there watching him. Specifically, as the monster girl that was watching Izuku sees his swordsmanship, she would say this to herself. Hmm, his swordsmanship. Not bad, she would say. As she would walk behind him, as she would say, "Hey, you!" As Izuku looked behind him and would see the girl, as he would say, "What do you want?" he would say. Not enthused about the idea of talking to anyone else right now. As she would say, "Well, I see that you're able to wield that sword quite finely. Can we have a duel?" she would say. As after hearing this, Izuku would say, "Sorry, but I wouldn't want you to die that easily," he would say. As he would continue on doing more, I guess you could say Yado type stances, essentially, as he would swing his sword up and down, as she would say. Anyway, continuing on, as the girl lizard thing would say, your swordsmanship. It reminds me of the Zampagu region. Are you perhaps from there?" As when she said that, he would say, "Zampango region?" And she would say, "Yeah, it's a region in the southeast. They're quite reclusive. In fact, most of them mostly just keep to themselves. And if they were to meet up with the order, they mostly just ignore them. And usually, if I heard things right, I heard that apparently the order has been causing some chaos there. I even heard that some of them were trying to kill some Pongo rulers and warlords. Apparently, they've been quite friendly with us lately, especially since most of the. Wait for a second. Sorry about that. Anyway, continuing on, as she would say, and apparently the order has been trying to try and purge them, essentially saying that their gods are nothing more than fake because the one true god, or at least what they say, is the chief god. After hearing that, Izuku would say to himself, "Well, another reason why not to trust them then." Anyway, he would look towards her as he would say, "Now move. I'm currently training." As he would start, doing more Yaidu moves, I should say, I just wanted to ask and try and, you know, um, try and spar with me." As he would say, "Like I said, you'll die," he would say. As she would say, "Come on, it won't be that bad," she would say. As Izuku would just look at her straight in the eyes and she would say, Do you want me to blast you into oblivion? As she would say, make me. As when hearing that, Izuku would say, annoying. As he would move all of his, move his like gear away as he would start leaving. As she would say, oh well. After saying this, she would start to leave. As she would say, too bad. Though, as she would look at him again, as she would say, I do wonder what he's like in bed, she would say. Anyway, as we would go back to Izuku. Anyway, as after Izuku left, he would start saying this to himself. Absolutely annoying, he would say. As saying this, one of the wrong cards, or should I say, his Sampacto spirit, being that of our boy, Barragan, as he would say, truly annoying. She's not worthy of you, my grandson, he would say. As he would say this, right. Though I wouldn't want to deal with them either way. He would just sigh as he would say, besides, you also need to try and finish up some things with those ants, he would say. Also, what about that other ant that's been calling herself your wife? Shouldn't you try and court her? As he would say, grandfather, I am not interested right now. Besides, I don't consider her as a mate, and never will. As saying this, he would say, very well. For now, try and do some more training. Wouldn't want to lose to more ants, like how I did, he would say. Pretty much pissed off about, how how he freaking died by his own, freaking ability. I still am pissed off about that. So, anyway, as while he was walking through the camp, he would start looking around once again as he would see a lot of monster girls or monomos or whatever you want to call them. I'm just gonna call them monster girls anyway. As some of them being that the let's just say thick ass orcs would just look at him with yeah. God dang it! I'm still surprised that that YouTube is still allowing me to do this. When he finally arrived, at his little tent, he would see the demon there, as he would also see his quote unquote wife. As the lion personality would say, husband, you're okay. So, how is your little training, she would say. As her goat heart would say, yeah, I hope you can go into bed later. As the dragon half would say, can you stop that, said the dragon half. As the snake half would say, yes, I really wanted to do that. As saying that, Izuku would just look at them as he would say, can we not? He would say, as the all of their all four of the personalities would basically slump over. Well, kind of. I mean, the snake personality is still somewhat persistent. As he would look towards the demon, as he would say, what is it? As she would say, oh, yes, I also forgotten to tell you my name. My name is... You may call me Grimori. And also, I've been wondering, why do you not call her by her name? As she would look towards his quote-unquote wife, as she would say, oh, sorry about that, said the, goat, as the goat personality would just say, I forgot to tell you my name. The name's, just call me Hera, she would say. As saying this, Izuku would say, fine, whatever. Anyway, why are you here exactly? He would say. As she would say, well, I've been wanting to ask you this for a while. How are you able to eat? Seeing through your memories, you're able to eat or at least the only thing that you eat are human souls. Hearing this, the Chimera would just look at, Izuka should say, wait, you eat souls? Not, not spiritual energy? As he would say, technically, it's the same thing. Though, we ate, we mostly eat the actual soul. We are able to eat human food, but it won't be that nutritious for us. Though, for some reason, the food here seems to be quite rich in Ryoku, he would say. As she would say, perhaps your body's starting to be modified, thanks to you being here for a while now, said the demoness. As after hearing about him basically eating human souls and stuff, she would also ask, wait, can I also ask about your world? Said a somewhat reluctant, goat personality of hers. As he would say, fine. What is it, Hera? She would say. As she would say, do you have enemies? Or anything like that? Hearing this, Izuku would just look at her as you would say, yes. Though it was in the past. Well, not really. They are known as the Shinigamis, death gods. Hearing this, one of them would say, wait, death gods? Said a surprised, wait, death gods? You're telling me that your enemies were that of gods? As she would, after hearing that, he would say, well, not really. Their actual translation is soul reapers. They're supposed to purify us. Technically, I'm supposed to be purified a few years ago, but unfortunately they didn't have the time. I was mindless back then, a monster that ate human souls. And when I finally got sentience, it was already too late. Though, I still felt regret doing all those things. Kind of, he would say, pissed off. As one of them would say, is there anyone else? As he would say, yes. They call themselves the Quincy's. The Destruction Monks, he would say. As one of them would say, Destruction Monks? Said a surprised, a somewhat intrigued, Diana. As he would say, yes. They're known as the Destruction Monks. They are able to control Reishi, aka spiritual energy. As one of them would say, wait, I thought it was called Ryoku. As you would say, they're two different things. Ryoku is what we call the soul, and Reishi is essentially energy around the area, or around the atmosphere, or in the air. As after hearing that, Grimori would say, yes, continue about that. As he would say, they are the descendants of Yawatch, the god of the Quincy's, he would say. As hearing that, one of them would say, God of the Quincy's? That's quite the name. Said a somewhat, surprised Grimori. As, Kara would say, yeah, though, why was that? As he would say, he was the son of the Soul King, essentially our version of the Chief God. After hearing that, one of them would say, so you have your own Chief God? As he would say, yes, though he was betrayed by his own people and turned into a martyr. Hearing that, they felt, indifferent but also surprised. As he would say this, guess I can tell you this story, though it won't be the fate of Heart. After saying this, you would end this episode right here. Sorry, guys. So, yeah, bye bye.